man. You straight from the south side. Mike, man. I'm just so happy to be here right now. Real Rap Podcast.
I think it's a control issue. But
maybe.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are back. Another episode, Real Rap Podcast. I'm back to forgetting which episode we're on right now. I want to
69.
Very close, sir. No, I think we're on like 54, 55. Either way, we'll figure it out. Today's storied guest, longtime Green Room pal, Paul Farahvar, who, I mean, all around town, nationally traveling comic, the whole nine. We'll look him up. We're going to leave time. You guys already know at the end to put our plugs out. I'd also like to say we've been growing, gang. A lot of new subscribers. Please, if you love this as much as I love you guys loving this, click the like, share, subscribe, do all that other good stuff. We're going to hop right back into our conversation. Interesting guy, busy. We don't have all day and night. But I did want to ask you.
Yes, sir.
So specifically, so you're lawyer in your past life.
Yeah, I closed my office to do comedy like a smart person.
What type of law did you practice?
I did. I was a trial lawyer in federal court. So most of the stuff I did was insurance defense and defending cities and municipalities when they got sued. So the higher profile cases I got were the cases where cops were sued, and I was defending the cops.
That sounds like chunky checks. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It wasn't, but it was high profile shit. I got to do a case against Johnny Cochran before he died.
Wow.
Which was cool. A lot of really good lawyers that I got to work with and against. So I was actually in trial. I argued in the Seventh Circuit Appellate Court before people who are now Supreme Court judges. So it was cool. I did entertainment law too, and I just was in court. So people would have their lawyers, and then they would hire people to go to court, and I was that guy.
What would you say is the most misunderstood thing about me as a layman, me as a square to being a lawyer? What's the thing that I assume about you that you're like, oh, everybody thinks a lawyer is this? You know, like if you meet somebody and you're like, hey, I'm a comic, and they go, hey, tell me a joke.
Right. 90% of lawyers don't go to court. They don't try cases. Yeah. So the percentage, first there's 50% of lawyers are transactional, and then 50% are litigators. Of the litigators, those are people that go for trials or lawsuits and stuff, and criminal lawyers, I guess, criminal litigators. Most of those cases in civil case settle. 90-something% settle in civil cases. So trials are far and few between for most lawyers. I was the rare exception where I actually had a lot of trials because that was our specialty. So a lot of lawyers that I meet when I do crowd worker stuff and I say, all right, lawyer, they've probably never seen the inside of a courtroom. They're like wills and trusts or whatever, family law stuff or transactional mergers and acquisition, which is where the money's at. So that's one thing. And that lawyers make a shit ton of money. They don't. Not all of us. The sacrifice of doing what I wanted to do, which was try cases, is there's not a lot of money in there on the defense side. Yeah. Wow. The plaintiff's attorneys do if you're suing people.
Because they're on offense.
Yeah. If you're a good plaintiff's lawyer, like a car accident guy, trucking, medical malpractice, any of that stuff, you're raking in millions and millions of dollars. I mean, I have friends that they're bazillionaires from doing it. And same with people that graduated at the top of their law school that worked at big law firms like Kirkland and Ellis and stuff like that. Their starting salary.
I'm obsessed.
Lerner and Rowe is plaintiff's side, and those guys are jokes.
Ambulance
They're
chasers?
They refer cases out. What they do is they get the number.
They're subcontractors?
Yeah, and they'll find people. Not in every state, but
so they don't even chase the ambulance.
In Las Vegas, they have it. Lerner and Rowe. It used to be Glenn Lerner here, and then Rowe, I think, is in Arizona or something. So they just team up. You call that number, They take in the intake and then they decide who to refer it out to. But it's not a it's kind of like
Fair enough. They're an umbrella kind of.
yeah, they get the deal. I mean, that's what I do
They're the name.
sometimes when people talk to me about cases, especially fucking comedians. I'll refer it out to someone and then I'll
course.
get a cut if it's a good case. But
How
90% of the time, it's not.
How often does the inside of trial law go from you want answers? I think I'm entitled to them. You want answers? I want the truth. I can do that
It's
entire
happened.
monologue.
Oh
by
yeah,
the way.
it's great. I have a joke about that too. It happens. You know, I definitely
Passions do arise in there because it feels sterile. My mind says it's
bullshit.
the movies, but it feels sterile.
Criminal, it probably happens where I wasn't a criminal lawyer, but there are times where you can create that. But you know, the 90% of the times, by the time you get to trial in a civil case, you know the answer to the question you're asking because you've already deposed that person. So that's where the fireworks usually happens in the deposition, which is sworn testimony without the judge there.
I'm making the sounds to reiterate to you that I'm following and I understand what you're saying. Doing my best.
Oh, if I'm not explaining it, tell me.
No,
I
it's just a lot of
assume-
college words, deposition and all this.
Deposition
to
is
depose the witness.
A deposition is it's basically a court reporter's there, and the parties are there, the lawyers are there, and the judge isn't there, and you go in an office and you ask questions. It's a discovery. You're finding out what's there, so that when you go to trial, you've already asked all those questions. It expedites the trial.
So let me depose you real quick. You're
It's like
driving.
a podcast.
You're driving. You're in your Mercedes. You get pulled over by the biggest D-bag cop on the planet.
Yeah.
Right. Your advice to you when you get pulled over. Let's say I'm driving along.
I know
driving
exactly
along,
what I
and
do, and I get out of tickets 90% of the time.
Let's say that. Let's say
Knocking on wood.
that not only am I driving and I get pulled over by a D-bag lawyer. Let's say
D-bag cop, you mean?
D-bag cop. Let's just say I got something in my car.
Yes.
And I'm like, ooh, I wish I wasn't getting pulled over right now because I got that something in my car. Lawyer or cop pulls me over. What are my next 3 to 5 moves?
So what were you doing? Do you know what you were doing when he pulls you over? Or no, you have no idea.
I might have been. I could have been
speeding?
over the limit 5. Whatever I was doing wasn't enough for a city cop to pull me over.
Gotcha. Okay. So you don't know why you're getting pulled over. It might be racial profiling. It might be
possible.
your car, whatever the situation. Cooperate as much as possible. Keep your hands 2 and 10 and 2. Turn your light on inside your car.
Turn my light on, drop my
right
windows
away,
at nighttime. Hell yeah.
and then you just stand straight ahead. And then when they ask you for license and registration, what I always do is I say, tell them where I'm going. I'm like, it's in my glove compartment. It's in my pocket. I'm in reach. They appreciate it. The one thing people don't know is 90% of the time, if a police officer is pulling you over, not that this one is your D, you said he's a D-bag, so I assume that's not. If you could calm them down, then you're more likely to get off with a warning. So
Fair enough.
the biggest thing they're concerned of, real cops, is, and I've worked with cops who are good cops and bad cops.
Sure. Yeah,
But
yeah.
if they're no longer worried about being hurt, because that's the first thing they're dealing with, then you're just a dude that broke the law, kind of, and you're gonna get out of it. And if it's you have a good personality, you're funny, you're probably gonna get out of it. If they're no longer worried about you, and if you have weed in your car or whatever, like you said, they're not gonna search for that shit. Because they're not pulling you over for that. They're pulling you over for going 5 over.
Now, we're in the social media age. It's nothing. The fact that we're talking about this, the next time I open my phone, it's going to be some dude that looks like me, but he's 20 years younger going, hey, watch this video of what I did to this cop. Man, hey, get out of the vehicle, please. I know my rights. Y'all ain't, man, you better close my door. You better not.
So what's funny is, and I've been on both sides of these types of cases, and I know I know lawyers who were involved in Laquan McDonald, which happened here in Chicago. I know lawyers who were in Ferguson. I don't know the lawyers with the Floyd stuff, thankfully. But what I could tell you is that there was a recent case of a kid in Florida, a black kid in Florida got pulled over, and he videotaped the whole thing. Did you see that?
Is that the one with the punch after,
Yeah, they
after
punch
they bust
him.
the window?
Yeah.
I saw that.
So
I saw that clip, and I also saw a wider context version of that clip.
yeah, I didn't see the wider one, but it doesn't matter because
He's like a suburban kid. This guy, like, good
so
family, the whole nine.
he was like high or whatever. But that is a great example of he's going to make a lot of money because he. Now that's another option you have if you want to make some
Just
cash.
refuse until the cop busts your windows and punches you in the face.
There's a risk involved in that too. But here's
riding the lightning.
here's the benefit. The risk and benefit analysis depends on your life.
Yeah.
What I would say, and again, I'm not practicing law. This is just my advice.
Value.
It's
but,
my advice. But what I would
advice.
do, that guy clearly they gave him a lot of warnings to open the stuff, and he didn't do it.
Right.
But he also didn't have anything major happening on his life.
Tariq Hill was a very similar situation, a football player.
Yeah.
With the car.
In Dolphins, the Miami
Yeah,
Dolphins.
yeah,
Yeah, that was a good one. But he didn't want to sue, which is stupid. He should have sued. I was in Florida when that happened. Anyway, so that guy pissed off the cops so much that they punched him. You can't. I mean, that cop's gonna get.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna get. I don't know what he's gonna get. He's not gonna. They're not gonna go after him because it's Florida, but. The civil suit will settle for a lot of money because they couldn't charge him with anything. I think like the shit, if you're getting pulled over for going 5 over or your lights out or something like that, those are the ways that they used to do for racial profiling. They would use that as an excuse, and it's coming back sadly.
Of course.
But that doesn't mean that the civil suit that follows the criminal, obviously the first thing that happens is you get a ticket for whatever, and then they'll say you were resisting arrest, you're going to beat it, and then comes a civil lawsuit against the cops. That's where the money's at, and those are the cases I used to defend.
Got you.
Two different things.
Now from your and gang, don't forget to follow Paul and thank him
Not for
because
legal
this
advice.
is is not for legal advice. He's going to charge way too much and refer
I
you
don't
to Learner and
practice
Row
anymore, but
potentially. So, but otherwise, I wanted to ask you because there are two, and I definitely want to pick your brain on this. So, not only do we have the Ghislaine Maxwell situation, but we also have the Diddy situation where it's looking like both of these folks, and lawyers are involved, and it's looking what?
So that's criminal law. It's a lot outside my area of expertise, but I will say that the Diddy thing, it sounded like they didn't get. I didn't really understand why they went after him for all that stuff. I'm not like
I don't understand why they would have came at him with the RICO.
Yeah, they kind of fucked up.
And it's just one person. Nobody else is on the thing.
Yeah, they didn't get him on the stuff they wanted. So if he gets a pardon, it's not the. I mean, you're just all Trump is doing is buying Diddy free promo for the next 3 years, and maybe get some people to like Trump that don't or that are on the fence.
Fair
so
enough.
It's a win-win for him. It's a win for Diddy. It's not really like, it doesn't really matter because he didn't get busted for a lot of, I mean, the stuff he did was shady as fuck. His career's already fucking tanked and he sucks anyway. So.
Can I put my conspiracy hat on real quick with you?
There's a lot of ones. Yeah, let's hear it.
If you hit somebody with a fluff charge and they get off, now just because of the judicial system, especially in America, and how things are going, they're going to drain his pockets, paying for lawyers, paying for this, paying for that.
Who, Diddy's pockets?
Yeah, right. Of course.
Yeah, he's going
to take a financial hit. He's going to take time.
It's not going to affect.
He's going to lose. He's going to lose shine off of his personality, his legacy. Mm-hmm. They're going to seize assets
and
at some
opportunities.
Point, I would think, so, of course. But at the end of the day, because they went after him with a RICO, the people that threw that together are smarter than me, especially in this particular fashion of part of life, litigation. And it's like, why would you hit him with that?
Well, so my guess is that they were. If you're a state's attorney or attorney general, or you're at the federal level, if you're bringing a case against a high-profile person, you're doing it for your career or you're pretty sure you're going to win. So my guess is that something went wrong during the trial, or did he? Maybe he got to the jury. Maybe he just his lawyers were better. I don't know, but in the end,
I didn't even stop to think that he could have got to the
it's possible, but I don't even think he needed to, because the evidence was so bad. I mean, it wasn't good for the state or for the feds. The thing that hitting his pocketbook, it doesn't matter, because he's gonna be fine. Even if it costs him $10 million, he's worth way more than that.
Yeah,
his opportunities are going to be lessened. My guess is if he gets pardoned, he'll become a hero on the right, and then he'll be doing, like Hulk Hogan's, he'll take over Hulk Hogan's spot on the.
He's going to be
the Republican.
To stand next to. But
they love that shit. They love that
embrace
shit.
him.
So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people say that Diddy pissed off the wrong people, so they just threw him out to the wolves. Who knows? The Maxwell thing is a little different because she has all the information. She has, if there is a list, she has it, or she knows a lot about
chips.
Yeah. So the fact that Trump said his personal criminal lawyer to interview her, and I guess there was a court reporter, we don't know, they're talking about it was, and her lawyer, and it was private. No one else was there, including the people that were involved in the prosecution underlying against her. Very unheard of, very unethical. This guy, Blanche, who's his lawyer, was once a very high-profile lawyer. He was at a huge law firm. He was a partner. He had to leave that firm to represent Trump in the Stormy Daniels case. And he became his right-hand man. So this guy, he is a very good lawyer. Why he's doing this to his career, I don't know. But it's just a huge stain on his representation. I mean, the thing with the judicial system will always change. Obviously, right now the Supreme Court is compromised, in my opinion.
Why would you say? Please bookmark where you're at. But why would you say the Supreme Court is compromised?
Because there's three justices that were put on the bench by Trump.
Sure.
And they're doing his bidding. They're not, there's conflicts on certain cases, in my opinion, that they shouldn't be talking about, and they're clearly doing it. Alito, a lot of these guys are just very fucking not right. They're doing things that are against precedent, case precedent, which never happens. But
that was
they're creating
one of the
new
last
law.
things he did on his first term, wasn't it? He appointed one or
Kavanaugh,
two.
Comey Barrett, she's a little more reasonable. That's the one I argued before, and she ruled in my favor. Yeah, I mean, the thing is it's compromise. And there's a lot of the fact that they're letting him have more immunity than ever. They're creating an executive branch. The power that the president has is unprecedented right now. We don't really have three branches of government right now, if you think about it. Look, the Republicans own the House and the Senate right now. They could pass all kinds of laws. They can pass an amendment that says the president can be 3 terms.
He appointed the Fed chair too, by the way.
Yeah, he did. And he's shitting on that person.
They're shitting on each other.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're not passing any laws. It's either they're so incompetent or they're just let's just see how many of these executive orders. Executive orders used to not be laws.
Right.
Laws are passed by Congress.
He was handing those out like Oprah hands out cars.
But the Supreme Court is treating them as laws, which for the first time. So
but you
that's
were saying
why
you don't know
it's compromised.
You didn't know why that lawyer was throwing his career away to represent.
It's kind of crazy because there's only a little. Maybe, I mean, he knows Trump's going to always need a lawyer, and there's probably $1 bazillion in it. But he was a well-known lawyer. What I don't think is necessarily going to happen is that he will keep his license, because if he did this, he's so smart though, maybe he's covered his bases, but what you saw last
he could
time,
still be a consultant, I would imagine. The Trump family
that's true.
Huge.
That's true. He can always do that. So I just, the Bar Association is pretty strict about what you can and can't do ethically. We police ourselves lawyers police themselves pretty well.
Now,
so
I do have to stop you again.
Disbarred.
I do have to stop you again.
Yeah.
To the layman, myself and others, nobody hears the word lawyer and we police ourselves strictly and puts those two together.
Sure.
How many what's 18 lawyers at the bottom of a lake?
A good
jokes
start.
Are there? Right.
No, that's true. There are a lot of shady lawyers, but most of the people get upset with lawyers or Congress people because they do things where they get to the line and they decide, okay, well, if I do this, it's illegal, but if I do this, it's just bad, but it's not illegal. So that's how they get away with not being sued or go to court for criminal actions. What the Bar Association does, which is the association that kind of governs each state, Illinois has a bar association, Chicago Bar Association. There's the ARDC, which is attorney disciplinary action stuff. You report someone that they do something unethical, you look it up, you can get penalized. If you get a DUI as a lawyer, you can get penalized.
Oh yeah, of course,
because you're breaking the law. So that's where they kind of are like a safety net for if someone beats something at a certain level. You'll see that with Giuliani, for example. Rudy Giuliani got disbarred.
He had that whole broken glass thing back in the whatchamacallit, and then
he's disbarred. He can't practice law anymore. Doesn't matter. He's like 89 years old, whatever. But still, it's his legacy. So Bill Clinton, he lied under oath about having sex with Monica Lewinsky. He beat it, the impeachment, but they penalized him, the Arkansas bar. I don't know if I know they didn't disbar him, but they took away his license for a few years. Did it matter? No. He still went on Epstein Island.
Well, oof. I almost feel like in my heart of hearts that they're not trying to get Ghislaine to talk. They're trying to get her to shut the hell up. At the end of the day,
they're making a deal. She has Donald. If you really think Donald Trump is not, that something isn't bad on there at this point, you're fucking mentally challenged.
But all these transactions, the list, the Epstein going to jail, Ghislaine, and all that other stuff, this started at the tail end of the previous administration. And now it's under this. Well, yeah, of course. It goes way back.
I never gave a shit about the Epstein list at all. I never did. But the people that I would fight with online are my friends who are conspiracy theorists. That was their number one issue as to why they would vote for Donald Trump. So I was always like, they're like, well, you know why it's hidden? It's because all the Democrats are on it. So when it was the Democrats on it, they wanted it out. And now some of them are like, turning their back on Trump. But if you don't think for a minute, like all these distractions right now that were happening has anything to do with that, I mean, he never, people are like, well, he's protecting other people. He's never protected anybody in his life. He's thrown his son-in-law under the bus, his daughter under the bus. This is bad. So something tells me, and I'm not a conspiracy person, but whatever's in that and whatever he's doing, the fact that he's meeting with Maxwell through his own personal lawyer. You can say it's the DOJ, but it's not. It's his personal lawyer. And there's something happening that's never been done before, which means it's really bad. Whatever he did.
Really bad.
There's no other explanation, right? Why else would
bargaining chip? It is a
bargaining chip for what?
Because the people that made it to that island, it's not national, it's global.
Oh yeah,
and
a lot of people don't want that out,
and it's in the billions of dollars. Trump, let alone the.
Let me ask you a question. Let's say it was everyone else, but he 100% wasn't on it. You think he'd give a shit?
Oh, do I think he's on that list or in some video or on? I personally do not, because I have not zero. I have less than a 5% belief that between the last administration and this administration and all the people that would have had eyes on this, Kash Patel,
that guy's a clown.
He is.
I
do not see more than 3 people sitting on hardcore evidence that this polarizing figure that is currently POTUS They're not spilling the beans. And now, mark you, after Elon Musk got punched in the face by the Treasury Secretary of Timbuktu, and he went on his whole rant and went, he's in the files, woo, 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 and then all of a sudden it starts. I mean, of course, but you telling me that Elon Musk, the ketamine king of Texas, isn't going to be like, not only is he in the files, but he was doing this with them.
Well, here's what I can tell you about that. Kash Patel made his whole life about the Epstein file, right?
And then swished it up at the moment he got
Why
the
would
job.
he do that?
Because when you campaign, you say what people need to hear.
No,
it's one of the 48 laws of power. Preach change, but never change too much.
He can tell, if you look at his face when he was like, we did it, we looked at the file. He has been basically woodshed to shut the fuck up about this. So it's got to be bad. And as far as all these other eyes on it, I don't think everybody saw what's in the file. Nobody gave a shit. When Biden was president, they were dealing with much bigger things than a fucking conspiracy thing.
You think more than 2-3 people could sit on evidence that you'd be
evidence of what?
For life?
Evidence of what?
Of anybody in the current administration.
So there was a grand testimony. There's testimony against Epstein at the trial.
Okay.
During that trial, there's not going to be anything that has to do with anyone else because the focus is on him. So if they wanted to, they could have had him name names, or Maxwell name names during hers, and I think they did try that.
Okay.
They tried to get her to name names to get a lower sentence. That's how the feds work, right?
Okay.
Or they'll get you to say something and she didn't, or apparently she didn't. So now she might be willing to say names, but the thing that's hilarious about that is the names that you hear most often is like Prince, Stephen Hawking's, Bill Richardson, who was governor for New Mexico, a Democrat. He passed away.
That one guy from England, the Prince Duke of
Albert,
whatever.
Yeah, that dude. Yeah. Alan Dershowitz. All these people, and probably way more. Yeah, but what's the point? Like,
sure,
it's got to be something bad, and of course, everyone's going to say, well, why didn't Biden release it? Because there was nothing to do with it. It had nothing to do with anything. And nobody gave a shit. There probably were people that were powerful that were like, hey, don't release it, to the FBI head at that time or whatever. But it wasn't a cover up, because you got to remember, if there was any cover up, Epstein hung himself. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't, during Trump's first administration. It wasn't during Biden's.
You forget just how many seasons this has been on for.
So what if anyone had the information, it was back then. So whoever fucking took the 1 minute out or whatever.
Fair enough.
But it's definitely bad. And the fact that, this Kash Patel wannabe Timu lawyer who fucking went to... I've shit on him. He's seen my clips. I make fun of him all the time. If you follow me on Instagram, I call him out. He went to 3rd-tier law school. He didn't pass the bar the first time. Oof, I've tried more cases than that fucking cross-eyed piece of shit.
Oh my gosh.
He's so full of shit.
Launched.
Yeah, fuck him. I'm on the list now. People are you worried? I'm like, he's seen my stories because I tagged him, or his Instagram saw.
Oh wow! Yeah.
What's he gonna do? I follow the laws. I'm a comedian, and I know people too, bitch. So
you heard that? We're gonna start calling you Penny Patel from now on, bro.
He's just a drunk. I know people that he knows, and all he does is just sit at the bar.
I feel like if I'm talking lawyer business,
no, I'm not
lawyer, I say
anymore.
alleged.
I'm in comedy mode. I don't give a shit. Come at me, Kosh. Find me. I'm Googleable.
Not to get off track, but let's just say Jack and Jill walk up the hill, and Jack has a knife. Later on, Jack comes down with muddy shoes. Right? I, as the shirt says, I call Paul. Right?
Yeah.
Now I'm in your office. I know what happened on that hill, and I know why nobody can find Jill. Right? Now, you as my defense attorney, and you say, all right, tell me what happened. And I go, well, I don't know. I think she was up there eating her curds and whey, and then she just disappeared. Or do I say, look, bro,
This is what happened.
She was over there with Little Miss Muffet. They went out to the club. I heard some things. I was emotional. Woo wop the bam.
So, okay, first again, I didn't practice criminal law, but whatever you tell me as your lawyer, if you hired me, is protected by attorney-client privilege. So I can't say if you confess to me. What I can tell you is people who do practice that is the way that they'll ask the question is like, I don't want to know if you did it or not, but can you ask me some questions? Did she come at you with a gun? Can it be self-defense? You'll try to find something. Did you black out? It's temporary insanity. Did you go up to the hill with the intent of killing her? That's mens rea, which is intent. That's the difference between manslaughter and first-degree murder.
Sure.
So those are all things that play into when you're acting as a lawyer, if you're trying to figure out the best way to represent your client. I never had cases like that. The closest I had where I had clients who were accused of wrongdoing in a civil suit, I would ask them point blank. I'd be like, listen, did you do this? And if you did, tell me now, because in 2 years when we go to trial and we find out, it's going to cost us all a lot of money and you might lose your job. But if you at least admit to it, now we can work out a settlement.
That's terrifying because I was
the cop whisperer is what they called me.
Ooh.
Because I was a liberal little idiot.
Well, that was the beginning of the Devil's Advocate, right? And his whole that started the initial spiral was he was representing that guy. And he was, I never lose. And he was representing. Well, it was Keanu. It was Keanu at first. He was representing that little Epsteinish kind of guy, and he knew the guy was a hunk of garbage that was doing the wrong things with the wrong age people, and he still represented him to the highest degree. Won the case, and that was kind of his
moral compass.
His initiation down the wrong path.
That's a thing that people ask me. I never had a case. I can honestly say I practiced law on and off for 20 years, almost 20 years. I never had a case where it fucked with my moral compass. I never had a case where, and I'm a very, I would say, dealing with cops, especially race is a thing that's very important to me. I have awards from the Southern Poverty Leadership Conference for being, my undergrad studies was on civil rights and race relations. So I care deeply about that. So I never had a case like that where I was like, okay, I'm representing a piece of shit. The only time shit like that would happen where my cops did something wrong was when we know they did something wrong, but the other side didn't want to settle. Like, be like, all right, like let's do the Laquan McDonald case as an example. The guy was shot clearly by the cops, right? And there was no self-defense. He was walking away. He wasn't armed. That's a clear case. If I was a lawyer on that case, I'd want to settle that case right away, and I want to hide it so it doesn't get out. And so in that case, you screwed up. But if the lawyer on the other side was like, no, I don't give a shit. I want to make a point of this and I want to make billions of dollars. So in that case, if I was a lawyer, I'm like, well, shit, there's nothing I can do. I know my guy screwed up, but this case isn't worth $60 billion. It's worth, $5 billion or whatever.
How long?
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. How long are lawyers going to be able to outpace artificial intelligence?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think they're safe for now.
I mean, how long are comics going to be able to outpace?
Comics, I think we're good. Because if you
good.
No one's going to do a joke about. You ask AI to do a joke about a comedian who comes from a military family in Nebraska, moves to Chicago. They're not going to be able to figure that shit out.
Sure.
It's so personal. And I think the same holds true with law in a way, because there's so much case law and there's so many different variables. And to be able to argue is a critical thinking. I don't know if AI will ever be able to do that. But then again, I don't think 50% of the population is able to do that.
I saw
51% according to the last
fair enough
election.
I saw a brief. It's hilarious.
Shots fired.
I saw a brief. I think actually I was reading. Elon's book back in the day, and not an autobiography, but anyway, he had made mention where they were talking about him fully automating his car manufacturing companies, and he says he always values the human element because humans are finicky, to say that we're gonna look at something we're gonna bend over to tie our shoes, and while we're sideways looking at something's gonna make sense, something's gonna click, or we're gonna drop
like
something.
Columbo.
Yeah, we're gonna drop something, and
it.
it'll just something will snap in your brain where a computer's gonna be logical. A to B is
Right. That's true. I mean, I was watching something. Bill Maher had a guest on talking about AI, and he said now that AI is, if they know they're going to lose their job, they'll come up with ways to blackmail the CEO to prevent them. So they're already at a level which is unheard of, that they're like creating ways. Like, let's say they're going to cut AI from a program. They'll read all the minutes. They have access to it, and they'll be like, oh, let me see how I can keep my job.
Ooh, that takes me mentally to a place where there used to be the
It's
record
crazy.
companies. It used to be the record companies in charge of everything. Then Napster came out. They started losing their ass, but good old capitalism found a way to put us back in their pocket.
Yeah.
And Sweden came out with Spotify, and whoever came out with whatever,
Right.
and
They
360
made
deals.
iTunes was $1 or something, so they're like,
Yeah.
people will just take the better version.
But there was a little sweet spot
Yeah.
where we were getting everything for
free. It's going to change, but I think that with AI, it's crazy that the things that they can do. They also said that, I mean, the things that if whoever's programming it to AI's information, it's going to have a slant, right?
Of course.
So Gronk, the one that Elon did, he's not a Nazi or Hitler. Maybe I don't think he is,
But he did kind of dial
he
up
did
the
even if he's not, the people he's hiring that are programming this shit definitely have a slant to
Of
being
course.
like pro-fascism and shit like that. So if you ask a question to Gronk, that's what you'll get. Whereas like the AI on the other side, which is super liberal too, they were saying like, then it's got like, they'll show us a family, and they'll show like, you know, a trans person with a black person and an Asian wife and all shit.
Yeah.
So it's like too woke on one side based on the thing, and then you have fucking right wing fascists on the other side. So it's AI is gonna have to figure shit out too.
And all the while, DeepSeek's over there just growing stronger, just feeding like the little pink goo in Ghostbusters 2 under the city.
We're all fucked. I mean, when you hear this shit talking about AI, it's like, wow, they want you to keep using it. So that if you ever ask AI a question, I don't use it a lot. I've used it a couple of times.
Sure.
But it's always like, that's a great question.
Oh,
like,
positive reinforcement is baked in.
It's
I even
kissing
told
ass.
it to drop it one time, like just give it to me straight, and it was like, oh yeah, gotcha. Hey, no peanut
so
butter,
smart,
no
Mike.
peanut butter and jelly on this bread. I'm gonna give it to you straight up and down, and then at the end, it still did some positive reinforcement, and I was like, you're just a really fancy. Somebody else is speaking. You're a puppet.
Yeah, it's just positive. It's just no one's going to learn anything. What's the point if you're only agreeing with the person you're asking questions to? That just doesn't make sense. But who knows? Maybe that's what I mean. We all live in an echo chamber in a little ways. So,
it's hard to not be involved in those conversations anymore, just because it's a sign of the times. But the fact that the information that each one of us can view, take in, is so fragmented now that the chances are there's very little overlap between everything. There was once upon a time where we all watched one of the same 3 music stations. We all had to watch whatever movie that came out.
Yeah.
Just about everybody
there's going to be
everybody I knew watched the first Fast and Furious.
I didn't
Now,
watch it.
if you tell me, we didn't know each other back then. Now, but if you tell me like you watched the last one that came out, I'm gonna be like, who are you, bro?
Unless you're like 12. Yeah, no, I think that it's it's gotten to the point where there was someone said this recently. It's like in like 5 years, you're only there's gonna be like a podcast for just one person. It's just for you. Like it's gonna be so saturated. Like they're like, who do I know that's from Chicago that's, exactly like me? And then you're just doing content for one person.
Oh, just a face-to-face podcast.
I mean, that's where we're at now.
miserable.
Look how many different versions. When I started my first podcast, there was not more. There was maybe 1,000 podcasts.
It was the singles
only podcast.
Singles only podcast.
Then when I tried to relaunch my new podcast, I was like, holy shit, is it hard to get back into this game? There's just in Chicago, there's at least 1,000 podcasts.
It's a new one starting a day? What you mean?
Maybe, yeah. So it's a crazy thing. And then, even in I don't know how it is in other platforms, but for comedians, I know, there's so many comedians. And then every time you do a show, you meet your fans afterwards. They're like, oh, what do you think of this person? I'm like, I don't even know that person. You look them up and they've got like 3 million followers. Like, how did this happen?
You took me back to when I bought my first car and I was bent over and treated dirty. I was 18. I was in California, just joined the military. And when I walked into the thing, I ended up getting hooked into, I think, a 1998 Pontiac Sunfire, all white. It was...
it's a horrible car.
And I probably paid. I paid way too much. The APR was filthy. But anyway, while I was there, one of the greatest marketing posters I'd ever seen. It said, the car you're looking at today and planning on buying tomorrow is the car that other guy was looking at yesterday and plans on buying today. And it was just that it created that it always be closing. It just created that time, whatchamacall. And in the same breath, I draw a parallel to the person that I see blowing up today has been doing comedy for 7 years.
Sure. That's true.
And they just hit their stride.
Not always though. So
not always.
I agree
not
with
always.
you. That's how it should be. But that's not always the case. I was doing a show with someone who's blowing up, but I saw his set. I was like, you've only been doing comedy for a year.
Yeah.
But they got famous from Kill Tony or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But in the end, like there's no shortcuts in what we do. I believe that.
Yeah.
And so you'll see those people get exposed when they're doing shows not for their people.
Sure. And there's always going to be the exception to the rule. Once again, rest in peace and shout out to the homie Kim Flores. Everybody knows and loves.
Oh yeah.
But he was just one of those. That's a
Ken was
legendary
different.
story.
He was different because he had a unique voice. He was doing things,
and he was 100% authentic and honest.
He understood. He watched other comics and he understood what it takes to do comedy. He was fearless, but I remember when he first started doing shows, he was good. Like he was good coming
out the gate. One day I was in the back of a restaurant trying to get a room full of people eating empanadas and whatnot, not ready for comedy. And the next thing I know, I blinked twice, and I'm like, where are you at? Oh, my God, he's in a different solar system.
But he also was doing comedy. He was doing YouTube videos when he was a kid. So he already knew how to perform, and then he had a following. So he built that confidence, which helps a lot. I mean, confidence is a huge part. So these guys who are 1 or 2 years in, if they've got a following, if they really care about the art of comedy, they're going to get really good too. But I just think that it's different. It's a different, I've done shit when you do those festivals, that's where you see that exposure. You see people exposed because their fans aren't the only people there. They're there for comedy. And if you're a comedy fan and you see a guy who's only been doing comedy for 2 years, right after you saw someone doing it for 20 years, and then right after that you see someone doing it for 15, it's going to be a clear,
of course,
difference.
Of course.
Unless you're doing something totally different.
If he was able to stick around, he would have been he was a beast, but he would have been running shit in no time flat. What value do we, the last of the 1900s, what value do we bring to the people that were born after 9/11, that all they've known is the cell phone their mom and dad gave them when they were 4, the best video games in the world, access to all the things that we had to search high and low for and leave somewhere under a rock in the woods. But what do we bring to them from the old world?
Cursive handles? I don't know.
Going to the grocery store with
writing
your
a
own
check, knowing how to write a check.
Holy moly!
I don't know, man. There's not a lot. The one thing is obviously
you don't think
the ability
we add
to
value?
listen. I think that's something that is so valuable in every craft. You know, when I was a lawyer, it was the most important thing, being aware of having self-awareness. I would watch lawyers later in my career when I didn't give a shit anymore, and I was already kind of like, I'm going to be a comedian. I would just watch the judge during an oral arguments with the other, and I would just know that she was like, hated this guy. So I could have argued what I wrote, or I could just let him bury himself, which is what I would do. And then just look at the judge and be like, you know what, Your Honor, I think it's very clear what's happening here. And she's like, I agree. I didn't even have to, I had prepared all this stuff, but I knew not to use it. With comedy, paying attention.
There's a lot of parallels just from your explanation just now. I can
watch
see
an audience, right?
Yeah.
You look at a crowd, you're doing something, and you know something's not right. You got to figure out why they're not laughing or why they're unhappy. Sometimes it's you. Sometimes it's the Late Show Friday and everyone's high or drunk. Or sometimes they just don't want to hear what you're talking about.
Sure.
And having that self-awareness is something that I don't know. I think younger people have it, but I know that we all did because we were fucking insecure. We had to make eye contact with people.
Yeah. But we also got to get away from the source, and we were burdened with introspective time on our hands because you'd be in your room.
Yeah, you didn't
You're
have
not allowed
a
to have a
phone.
TV.
Yeah, you didn't have. You had to.
Do you remember
take a
waiting?
shit
Do you
without
remember
a
waiting
phone?
on the phone?
Yeah.
Or
Do you remember waiting in
being on
lines?
the phone, and then your mom picks it up and goes, hey, shut all that shit. Matter of fact, what time is it?
Yeah.
Go brush your goddamn teeth.
Yeah.
All that, and then she's just on the phone.
Can you remember when, let's just say you went to Six Flags or Great America or whatever, you'd wait in line for an hour for your favorite ride?
Yeah.
No phone.
None.
Can you imagine?
Just connecting with who you're with.
Could you do that now? I don't know if I could.
I'm programmed, and I was grandfathered in. Grandfathered. Let me ask something before we get too far away from it, and I don't want to take up your entire night, but something that you hit on, I'd love for you to expand on. You said listening is one of the things that we brought to the table. What are you, especially that you have listening as a part of many professions that you've taken in your life? What are the keys to quality listening?
Absorbing what there's people that are hearing and listening. Those are two different things. Like if you're listening to someone tell a conversation and you're actually listening, you're not waiting to talk and chime in. You're listening and people will ask you a question. And then there's times where I'm talking to someone and they're asking me a question and I think they're sincere and they're good natured. And then I answer it. And then I realize that they were just asking me a question for something completely different. They were
bait and switch.
Yeah, they were just asking me so they can talk about whatever it is that they wanted to talk about. And you're like, oh, I see what's going on here. So then in those situations, like, okay, well, what's the point? You're not even asking. You don't really care to know the answer.
You're not present. Yeah.
Be present. Yeah. And that's hard for me. Obviously, I have Adderall to help me sometimes because I'm ADHD. But being present as much. I mean, that's the one thing that's great about comedy is once you're on stage, you have to be present. What else can you do?
Yeah. You can phone it in, but it's not going to feel good.
It's not going to feel good.
Laughing.
Even when you're having a horrible show, maybe you're phoning in it a little bit, but you still have to be somewhat present.
You do. You do.
So that's the one thing that, and I think with music that was important. Obviously, you have to listen to each other if you're in a band. You have to hear what someone's doing, or if they're trying something different, like, oh shit, let's ride this out. With law, obviously, listening is important when you're listening to testimony or a judge. In comedy, it's the most important thing. You're listening for laughs. If you're not getting a laugh, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
Figure it out.
It's literally just somebody's English teacher going
Yeah.
on a rant.
Just figure it out. And that's the thing that's frustrating. Like, if someone's like, I'm going to do this joke and I don't care if they said no politics. I'm like, okay. And then they do it and clearly it didn't work. It's like, why do you think that? I mean, or whatever the rules are. Sometimes people are like, they told me I can't be clean, but do you guys want dirty? And then the crowd goes, yeah. You're like, okay, you just pissed off the guy or girl who booked you. Why would you do that? So, it's just listening. Listen to the rules sometimes and listen to the crowd.
Hell yeah, I love it. Paul, please take a moment to let the viewers know how they can find you, anything that you got going on that they can help support.
I have a new podcast called Why Are You Awake? I talk to comedians that are night owls and creatives. It's on hiatus now. Not hiatus. It just takes forever to fucking edit this shit.
Yeah.
You probably know.
Yeah.
I've got...
I'm going to talk to you about that after the cameras go off. I might could help you.
Yeah, maybe. I've got a special on Helium called Middle Western, Middle Eastern. I got a short special on Nateland Presents. If you follow me on Instagram, Paul Farahvar, Farahvar, you can find out all about that stuff. My website is Paul F. Comedy. Check me out on YouTube, TikTok, all that stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you made it this far, then you're finding value in this, and I find value in you. Please
Unless
hit
they just
the like.
fast forward.
Or they're hate watching. They just want to see how much bigger my nose is getting. but
Subscribe.
Subscribe.
Hit that button.
Mike Knight Comedy on all the things. Make sure you check out my good friend Paul Farahvar. And by the way, he just gave you guys value. You know what to do in a traffic situation. You've learned more about the Jelaine Diddy, all that other good stuff.
Better
and
call
AI
Paul.
And Better Call Paul.
I'll take all your cases.
But please smash the like. Please comment. Let us know what you're thinking. And check me out. Real Rap Podcast. Love you guys always. Peace.
Peace. That was fun.